Hey guys, I'm Daniel with Full Tilt Drift, and today, with the help of my S14, I'm going to be showing you how to put solid differential bushings in your 240SX. So, first things first, why would you do solid differential bushings on your 240SX? I was getting a lot of wheel hop, and especially going around turns on a bumpy road, it felt like my entire subframe was jiggling around under me. I fixed this with subframe collars, but shortly afterwards the same type of problem returned. I ordered ISIS solid differential bushings, and they fixed the problem. The only part of them that I installed, though, was the fronts. In the car, the front differential bushings will sit like this. Mine simply fell out when I removed my diff to put them in, so it was absolute no-brainer. Now comes the fun part. The rear bushings on the 240SX differential are only a problem on S14s. On S13s, the subframe has 4 holes and the diff has 4 bolts on the back to hold it in place. However, on the S14, since it was made to be more of a consumer car, there are only 2 bolts, held in by rubbery bushings, which, as you can imagine, go bad over time. Now let's get to the reason you're all here. Getting them out. So, I avoided doing the rear bushings on my differential for as long as I could, but with the engine out and the opportunity perfect, there was nothing I could do to stop myself. First, you're going to need to get your hands on a reciprocating saw. Now, unfortunately, I decided to film this after I had already done this, but I will provide as many pictures as I can and a good explanation. The bushing sits from the back in the subframe just like this.
This picture is taken from the back of the subframe after I've already drilled my holes. Those divots on the top are also on the bottom and provide a good spot for you to drill for your reciprocating saw.
You need to drill 2 holes, maybe 3 for yourself depending on the size of your saw, and then squeeze the reciprocating saw deep into the crevice, all the way through, and then cut in a horizontal motion this way, so that it breaks the seal on the ring.
This is what the subframe should look like after you're done cutting the bushings out. You want to make sure to cut all the way through the ring to break the seal on them, but you want to try as hard as you can not to gouge the wall of the bushing holes with your saw.
I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't that difficult cutting them, but after I did, mine still didn't want to come out. A little persuasion with the hammer, but it wasn't too difficult. Tool check time. So, first you're gonna need your differential bushings. I already have 1 in, or there would be 2. Next, you're gonna need some threaded rod. Here we call it all thread, some people call it threaded rod. I really don't know what it's called everywhere, so go find it yourself. Next, you're going to need some nuts that are going to fit onto the all thread, a couple washers.
Here I've included a picture of the bushing. It's about 2¼ inches, so you're going to need some big meaty washers larger than that, and at least one smaller than that to help pull through at the end.
And of course wrenches that fit the nuts. You're going to want to freeze the bushing at least overnight. This is going to shrink the overall size of the bushing, making it easier to fit into the bushing hole. So what we're going to have here is the leverage from these washers pulling the bushing through the bushing hole and seating it. Now that's going to happen because the path of least resistance is the bushing going into the hole instead of gouging itself, but this is only true if you take this bushing and make it as perfectly aligned to the bushing hole as you can. It will help immensely, I promise you. Now, I'm doing this video after I've already put 1 bushing in. I've been thinking about doing a video show for quite a while now, but unfortunately I made the decision halfway into this job, so bear with me, but that means you'll get to see the finished product while we're also working on how to do the product itself. Okay, so this is how we're going to have it set up in the car. We're going to have the all thread going through, the washers and the nut on either side, bigger than the bushing hole, make sure, and the bushing on the back side of the subframe. This is because on the front side of the subframe, all we have is this lip, right? It's a flat lip, it doesn't provide any ease of access. Over here we have a rounded lip on the back side, which is going to allow us to pull it in a lot easier. I do know that the other end of the bushing is tapered, as you can see there, but I still find this to be the easiest way to pull it through. So now we're going to start turning these nuts, which are 19mm on my setup, and it's going to pull the bushing right into the bushing hole.
Take note of how much effort it takes to turn the wrenches here. If it's too hard, it means that you're gouging the bushing against the wall, and it won't be going in straight. It should be easy, and you shouldn't be having to force it too much. This is what it looks like when you're doing it the wrong way. See how it's taking all my effort just to force that in? In doing this, I messed up 2 of my washers and ended up having to run to the store just for new ones. Learn from my mistake, make sure you aren't forcing it, and that it's going in right. If you do it the wrong way the first time, don't worry. Yes, the bushing will be semi-stuck in the hole, but a couple taps from a rubber mallet from the front side should be enough to knock it out. I'm sorry about the exposure and light problems on this clip, but I included it so that you could see again the minimal effort that it takes while pulling the bushing in, and this way you get to see it be pulled in as well. Now we see that we've got the washers touching the subframe on both sides, meaning that our bushing is almost completely pulled in. Since the washer is bigger than the bushing hole, I'm going to have to pull one of the bigger washers off the back side to allow me to pull it in further from that side.
Alright guys, and here we've got the finished product. This is it from the back side, and you can see where those nuts are going to go. And from the front side, you can see how it's flush with the lip on both of the bushings. So you want to make sure that this is how it sits when you're all said and done. If you froze them, they will expand in place, so even if they're a little loose, don't worry, once they heat up, they will seat. And that's the end. How to install your diff bushings in a 240SX. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. I'd be happy to answer them. Please like and subscribe if you liked the video. Like I said earlier, the engine is out. There's plenty of work being done, so there's plenty of videos coming up. See you next time.